Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me as well. Thank you, Nina, for your beautiful introduction. I'm so honored, actually, I'm so honored to be here in the space of art, reflection, and solidarity. And I really love this exhibition. As Nina already mentioned, I get here from Ukraine and I had to take 2 trains, 3 flights to get here because in the sky we have kind of competition between missiles and between plane. And of course, war is prevail right now. But talking about this exhibition, life is prevail here. And talking also about Ukrainian approach to this war, it's really vital. And I want to show you how it works in Ukraine right now. But I need I need some water because, you know, it's this air is really dry here, like in my city of Luhansk, actually. So I feel here like at home. Because of this air, yes. And as I already mentioned, it's not about weapons. It's also about art, about literature, about music, about meanings, about whose stories get told. And during the time of Russian Empire and Soviet Union, Ukraine was kind of in shade. And it was Russians who told the stories of Ukrainians, not Ukrainians themselves. This imperialistic approach extended across literature, art, and music. They appropriate our artists, for instance, Kazimir Malevich, Alexandra Ekster, Anatoly Petritsky, and Vasyl Yermilov. All of them are Ukrainians. They claimed our writers are Russians, including Nikolai Gogol, who is Mykola Gogol, the Baroque poet and philosopher Grigory Skovroda. You can see his monument here in destroyed museum near Kharkiv. Russians destroyed this museum by missiles in 2022. Also, of course, they appropriate our composers like Mykola Leontovich, the authors of the piece known in the United States as Carol of the Bells. It's Ukrainian one. Today I'll be talking about poetry as part of war and resistance, actually, and how culture, not just infrastructure, is under attack and is able to resist during ongoing war. Actually, talking about this war, we should start it with cultural invasion, actually, which was started before war was started in Ukraine. It was started in 2014 when I lost my home, my house, where I was born and raised, actually. And now in my family house, Russian soldiers have been living already for 10 years. He just occupied my house and decided to live there. We know this from our neighbor, actually. This was not only about territory, but also about identity. And Russia isn't just invading our cities, it's invading our culture. And according to the Ministry of Culture and Information Policy of Ukraine, it's already we have already 122 museums and galleries have been damaged by Russian missiles and bombs. In this photo, you can see this destroyed museum near Kharkiv in Skоворodinivka village. It was dedicated to Grigory Skovroda, the great Ukrainian Baroque philosopher. And it's truly incredible that this monument survived the missile strike, like untouched. You can see it. It's incredible things. And of course, I believe you already seen this beautiful exhibition. And you can find some parallels because in Ukraine we are trying to preserve our monument and cover them. But not everywhere it's like helpful. In 2022, they destroyed this museum, and it was like the 300th University of Skovoroda in this year. And Russian Empire almost 300 years ago tried to lure Skovoroda into serving them. But he answered, my flute and my ship means more to me than a royal crown. Моя сопілка і вівця дорожча царського вінця. So also they want to stole Skovoroda, and they called him like Russian philosopher. Also, Russian soldiers have looted museums in the south of Ukraine, burnt Ukrainian books, stolen Soviet monuments, and even exhumed the remain of Prince Potemkin from Kherson. Now, under occupation, they are trying to erase the Ukrainian meanings of people life altogether. This is what a cultural invasion looks like, and Russian colonialism may seem invisible at first glance, but when you look at it through the lens of post-colonial criticism, it became very clear. Russians want to make us disappear, actually. Talking about Ukrainian culture, we have two narratives actually to describe Ukrainian response to war. We have to talk about two narratives. The first narrative is the narrative of tragedy, of grief, resistance, rage, even rage. And rage is a source of huge power for us to create our art, to create our literature. The first is the narrative of tragedy, as I already mentioned, but we also have the narrative of comedy, a very Ukrainian kind of comedy, absurd, sharp, sometimes childish, often fearless. When Russia began bombing our electrical infrastructure, people sat in dark for 6, sometimes 8 hours per day, sometimes 12 hours. What did they say? We just created jokes. It's better to spend the whole life, the whole winter without electricity than a whole life with Russians, for instance. That's really like this. And I remember when my mother called me and said to me, we have so much electricity today. It was like about something, some miracle probably. And if we can't, and also we create like different jokes and memes. For instance, if we can't work in the darkness, then we'll make love and make children instead. It's also the way to deal with the situation, to cope with this Russian invasion. This kind of humor is our coping strategy, and more than them. This is our form of survival, and actually this exhibition also about it. This everything is about it. Talking about reality, you know, we have. Let me to be just honest. You remember, yeah? Toilet, yes, yes. I will explain why. Right now in Ukraine we have kind of competition between fiction and between reality, and reality prevail. Reality beats fiction. Because Russians have turned their war crimes into something so grotesque and absurd that no writer could have invented it. I cannot invent this absurd, which they created in Ukraine. What happened in Ukraine is beyond that literature could invent it all. And for example, looting. What do they steal from Ukraine? For instance, toilets. They steal toilets. They steal electric kettles without the bases, because some of them don't even understand what the bases are for. From Kherson, I already mentioned, they stole relics of Potemkin, but also Soviet monument, and also live raccoon from the zoo. It's like unbelievable, and I can imagine it, and I can create it, and I cannot also write it in my book, because it's unbelievable that it's true. It's like something strange. But we also seen war crimes so cruel, they go beyond words, like mass deportation of civilians and children. They deported already lots of children without parents as well. Rape of women, men, even babies. Sexualized violence against people, against Poles. They created this absurd reality in Ukraine. But also they, on the walls of occupied Ukrainian apartments and schools, Russians left behind many messages. Here is one written in a school in the Kyiv region. Children, we are sorry for the mess. Russian soldiers written. We tried to preserve the school, really, with tanks, probably, but they were shelling. Live in peace, take care of yourselves, and don't repeat the mistakes your elders made. Ukraine and Russia are one people. Peace to you, brothers and sisters. One people, yeah? We are not exist. You are us. He is essentially saying you don't exist, yes, and in many of the messages left on the walls, Russian wrote, we love you, but you don't exist, you are us, and so on. Also, talking about Russian approach to war, I should mention probably Sarajevo Safari parallel. There is a documentary called Sarajevo Safari, directed Miran Zupanic, about the siege of Sarajevo, when foreign elites paid to shoot civilians from the hills near the city. The same Russian do right now in Kherson. This city was deoccupied, liberated from Russian soldiers, and now Russian trying hunt children in Kherson, hunt adult in Kherson with drones. Of course, this reality has impact on literature, on art, and we have. We can see war changed language in Ukraine, war affects language actually. Even simple words have changed meaning, like electricity. We took this electricity, even in this auditorium, we just took electricity for granted. We even do not mention we have electricity here because it's normal situation. But after a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, our authority asked us to mask our windows from electricity, so to preserve us from artillery and to preserve our cities, our houses. Electricity in that time became something dangerous for us. And we were afraid of electricity at night and didn't use it at all in Kyiv. I was in Kyiv during Russian invasion. And it was like this. In the time, a friend of mine was texting with a foreign colleague during this time, during the very first months. And she told him she was in the base tube. He thought she was flirting with him because, like, she is naked in bass tube and so on. But she was actually hiding there from the shelling. And for us, the word bathroom means a safe place, not a place where you take a shower or get naked and so on. The same with electricity. Electricity, when Russia started to destroy electricity infrastructure, I already mentioned it before, electricity became something valuable. In different times, in different months, electricity changed its meaning of this word, and it isn't so easy to work with language which is changing all the time. Talking about corridors also, they are safe places for us because they do not have windows, glass as well, and this is place where you can protect yourself from shelling, from debris. You already see some debris here in exhibition as well. And well, that was quite a long lead up to the poetry, and now let me show you how it all comes alive in my poems and how it works in my poems actually. And the very first poem I want to read today, it's of old age. This poem is based on a real story that happened in city of Pervomaisk. This is Luhansk region. The city was being occupied by the Russians, you already know, in 2014. And my whole family moved to the central part of Ukraine. But in 2024, but before 2022, like word pretended the war in Ukraine, the Russia didn't invite Ukraine at all. And in my poem, I'm trying to show how it works when the war just doesn't exist. Of old age. And old man and old woman died on the same day, on the same hour, on the same minute. People said they died of old age. Their hen died, as did their goat and their dog, but the cat wasn't home, and people said they died of old age. Their house fell apart, their shed turned into a ruin. The cellar was covered over with dust, but people said they were just too old. Their children came to bury the old man and the old woman. Oля was pregnant, Sergei was drunk, Sonia was only 3, and they died too, and people said they had died of old age. A cold wind plucked off the yellow leaves and buried under them the old man, the old woman, Oля, Sergei, and Sonia, the old man, the old woman, Oля, Sergei, and Sonia, who all died of old age. So language, I already mentioned that language reflects reality. So when reality changes, language also changes inside. And the next poem is about how it works. And here you can hear in this poem the name of occupied cities: Luhansk, Donetsk, Pervomaisk, and Debaltsevo. The composition. Nothing changes on the Eastern Front. Well, I've had it up to here. At the moment of death, metal gets hot and people get cold. Don't talk me about Luhansk. It's long since turned into Hansk. Lu had been razed to the ground, to the crimson pavement. My friends are held hostage and I can't reach them. I can't do Netsk to pull them out of the basement from under the rubble. Yet here you are, writing poems, ideally smooth poems, high-minded gilded poems, beautiful as embroidery. There is no poetry about war, just decomposition. Only letters remain, and they all make a single sound. Rrr. Pervomaisk has been split into Pervo and Maisk, into particles in primeval flux. War is over again, yet peace has not come. And where is my Deb Alcevo? No poet will be born here again, no human being. I stare into the horizon. It has narrowed into a triangle. Sunflowers dip their heads in the field, black and dried out, like me. I have gotten so very old, no longer Lyuba, just a ba. Thank you. It became hot, and I have this kerchief from Ukraine. This is, I want to show you. This is, thank you, the USA, Germany, Canada, and so on. And here we have aircraft, F-16. F-16, yes, here. This is Ukrainian one. Yes. So it's also the way how we work with war, actually, on this clothes as well. The next poem is Eyebrows. No, I won't put on a black dress, a black shoes and black shawls. I'll come to you all in white, if I have a chance to come. And I'll be wearing 9 white skirts, one beneath the other. I'll sit down in front of the mirror. It will be hung up with a cloth. Strike up a match. It will burn out, and I will moisten it with my tongue and draw black eyebrows over my own eyebrows, also black. Then I'll have 2 pairs of eyebrows, mine and yours, about them. No, I won't put on a black dress. I'll put on your black eyebrows on me. All of this poem are translated by Svetlana Lavochkina, Max Rosachinsky, and Oksana Maximchuk. The next poem is about what can happen if people don't call things its proper names, how language can hide these crimes. And this is really true, that language can hide a crime. This poem is called I Have a Crisis for You. You lit up a cigarette, but it wouldn't burn. It was summer, and girls would light up from any passerby. But I didn't light up from you anymore. Our love's gone missing, I explained to a friend. It vanished in one of the wars we wage in our kitchen. Change the word to crisis, he suggests, because a crisis is something everyone has from time to time. Remember the second word, crisis, correspondingly also the first word. Civil crisis, to each his own. I forgot about cold crisis. It seems they also came in twos. Also the uprising crisis. It sounds so good. The uprising crisis of 1648, 1647. Write it down in the textbooks. A crisis that liberates, releases forever. My great-grandfather fell in the Second World Crisis, possibly by the hand of my other great-grandfather, or his machine gun, or his battle tank, or his machine gun, or his battle tank. But it's unclear how they conducted this crisis with each other. Perhaps it was the crisis itself that killed them like a plague. For nobody is to blame for the crisis. It's inexorable like death. And when our own domestic war turns into crisis, does it get better? Does it hurt less? Do birds come back to us from the south, or maybe we came out to meet them? Why is our language like that? We lack words to describe our feelings. Only crisis and love are left as antonyms. But if love is bound to be so complicated with these blazes and smolderings, like blood and pain, and blood it's not like period, but some new feeling of mine, and pain is yours. If love is made up of two different feelings, this soon love will also be called crisis. I have a crisis for you, darling. Let's get married. It will be easier for us both. We've got a crisis. We'd better split up. Also talking about how language reflects this war, how it's affected by this war, I should share with you information about Svern as survival, new role of profanities you can see. And one of the earliest symbols of Ukrainian resistance was not a military act, it was a phrase actually. When Russian warship approached Snake's Island, this is island in the sea, Ukrainian territories, the same island once home to a temple of Achilles, wasn't this island before, and the Russian treated a group of Ukrainians border guards and said them, "We are Russian warship, lay down your arms," and they answered, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." You probably know about this phrase, and that became a national kind of motto. You can see this on this slide. You see kind of road signs. One of them is road sign with different version of this phrase, like fuck off. And my husband took this photo when he was driving humanitarian aid from Kyiv to Kharkiv in March 2022. On that highways, all the regular signs, road signs, had been taken down, and people put up these signs with swear words instead for Russians. In the time, Russians didn't use smartphones because it was forbidden for them, and they cannot. They had just this map, regular maps, and we just switched reality for them to show them this way where they should go. You also can see a bank card with the same phrase, actually. This is a bank card about Russian warship, go fuck yourself. You also can see a post mark with the same symbols and smartphone case as well. It became kind of a Ukrainian motto during the very first year of invasion, first full-scale actually invasion. And using this strong language like this, it helps us to deal with the stress, to keep, to make Russian miserable, and keep this word, these events on distance sometimes. Also, I want to share one more story about language as a borderline. It's the story about Polyanitsa. In 2022, at checkpoints, like military checkpoints, we have everywhere these checkpoints. Soldiers used a linguistic test to catch Russian soldiers or Russian spies pretending to be Ukrainians, and they would ask them to say a shibboleth, this word, Polyanitsa. Polyanitsa in Ukrainian language means like rot bread, and rot loaf of bread, and Russians simply cannot pronounce it correctly. even Ukrainian Russian speakers can pronounce it correctly and say Polyanitsa, but Russians cannot use this soft and hard syllables together at all. And it was the very first cultural and linguistic test to understand who is Russians and who wants to pretend to be Ukrainians, and it worked. Yes, so culture also help us to survive in Ukraine, even language help us. And the culture became kind of new weapon for us. But it wasn't always like this. At the beginning of this war in 2014, when Russia first invaded Ukraine and annexed Crimea and occupied a part of Donbas, Ukrainian writers all of us felt deeply disappointed because we hoped that culture could help prevent the war. I don't know why we hope that we can stop Russian tanks with our culture. It's not possible, of course, but we felt really disappointed. But now we feel like we have good news for writers, good news for artists. I'll just give you an example. And the start of last year, actually, 2024, I received a message for Ukrainian soldier, a defender of Mariupol, actually, Alexei. He wrote to me, I read your book, Apricots of Donbas, while I was on Azovstal in Mariupol. And he just wrote me to say thank you for this book. He survived captivity and bought this book and wrote me. I traveled to Kremenchuk, city of Kremenchuk, to meet him and to talk with him, to listen his story. His wife was also a soldier, and she was killed. A Russian 3-ton bomb broke through the bomb shelter in Azovstal, actually. This is like a plant in Mariupol, huge plant. He had survived. He had been imprisoned in Russian captivity at a Lenivka jail. Now he's free and still fighting. He is protecting Ukraine from Russia. And after this meeting, I realized that I want to write a book about Mariupol because I had this connection with my book, which was in Azovstal, in Mariupol, and which he wrote in that time. He said this book helped him to cope with the situation when his wife, after his wife's death. And now I'm working on a book, Nina already mentioned it, based on their defenders' stories, defenders of Mariupol. And what struck me most wasn't their pain, this military man and woman. It was their humor, actually, and their vitality. And they... Just a second. They rescued not only people, but also pets. Even when bombs were falling, they would take the pets out for walk. They do not have enough food there in Azovstal plant, but they share their food with pets. Even when bombs were falling, it's it's incredible, of course. And they also noticed beauty around them. One day, Alexei told me the story. He went outside these bomb shelters and saw bright red tulips blooming in the gray ruined landscape in this Azovstal plant, and that was the most beautiful moment for him. And after captivity, he made a tattoo with this tulip on his hand. Not only him, I saw already at least 3 tattoos with tulips on defenders' hands. In captivity, Ukrainian military read poetry, and they wrote poetry as well. They secretly organized lecture on history and even ran courses in English language and Polish language. It was forbidden there, but they did this. And some of the soldiers later sent this picture. This picture to me, the soldier who created these pictures is in captivity right now, and I can name him. But he made this picture for English language courses. It was lecture about medieval city. They made lecture also about love, about feeling, and so on, about pleasant things. And it shows us how art, how literature, how culture can help us to cope with reality, with such kind of event. Yeah, and I want to share also with you my poems, ironic poems as well, and show how it works in Ukrainian literature and in my poetry. The first poem is called Unshaven Leg. I shaved my right leg, but forgot to shave the left leg. Habitually, I put on a white blouse, a short skirt, black earrings, red lips, and went to a work meeting. Sat down and crossed my right leg over my left. The shaved leg on the unshaved. Oh, but you are a feminist, they whispered to me. I see your legs are unshaven. Dear colleagues, let's be fair. My right leg is shaved, but my left leg isn't. Hence, you cannot possibly say that both of my legs are unshaven. Black hair streak out of my left leg, but my right leg is fully alright. One leg is feminist and hairy indeed, but the other one is patriarchal and silky. It really is. How can you combine that? Some women say hurt. How can you work about like that? Some women say bemused. Back home, I tell all this to my lover with my legs crossed, the feminist over the patriarchal, and then the other way around, the patriarchal over the feminist. And my lover kneels before me, kisses my legs, and whispers, but I love you both, shaven and unshaven, as well as half-shaven, and stark naked. The second poem also about naked people. I like this topic, and Ukrainians as well. I call it such people are called naked. You took off your t-shirt. I pulled off my dress. You unbuckled your belt. I unhooked my brassiere. You let down your pants and kicked off your socks. I freed myself out of my panties, so scanty, so I'd better call them scanties. And now we lie in bed, two strips, like two white bread loaves, facing each other. You touch my cheek with your hand, you run You run your hand lower down my neck. You trace my collarbones with your fingers. How nicely everything is made here, you utter. But suddenly, from behind your shoulder, your mom peeks out and says, Andrusha, did you wash your hands? You turn to face her, show your hands. She offers you fruit compote and goes to the kitchen. You turn back to me. Put your hands back where you got interrupted from the collarbone. It slides down to my breasts softly as sea sand, and here I feel my dad's breath on my nape. Think with your head, child, he whispers loudly. I turn away from you and see his unshaven face very close and reply that I always think with my head. I turn back to you, and now my hand slides along your chest, and its downy hair bends under it, and now, behind your back, the bed creaks. Andrusha, here's some fruit compote. You turn away from me, kiss her sonorously, and say, Mom, I want to be alone for a little while. And she replies, offended, It doesn't look like you are alone. And she goes off again. And now you are with me again, and your hand on my stomach glides slowly down, so it gets close and tender, so it gets so. And now I hear my grandmother groaning. She says behind my back, I knew it. You are not a virgin anymore. See how your look changed. And I take your hand off my belly, turn halfway to my granny with your hand. I straightened out her purple kerchief and say in a loud voice, I'm still a virgin, Nan, and will remain untouched forever. I turn back to you, and here, over your shoulder, an old lady in a yellow kerchief peeps out. This time your granny. What female name ends in a consonant as if it were a man's, she asks. The answer is mine, but I keep quiet and take your hands off my hips. Snow falls between us, and like two toy soldiers, we lie like this till morning. And in the morning a cleaning lady comes, shovels away the snow mound between us, and I look into your green eyes for a long, long time, and you look at my brown nipples from very long, and I say, let's get undressed. And one by one I take off my dad, my grandma, my mom, my sister, and you take off one by one your mom, your brother, your childhood friend, your pickup coach, and we are bare now, wearing nothing at all. Such people are called naked. If there are some Ukrainians, no? Yeah, some people speak Ukrainians. Just for you, I want to read some poems, and for Americans to give you image of Ukrainian language, I want to share with you my poems when war was ended in Ukrainian language. Just you can hear this melody of Ukrainian language. Коли вона скінчилась. You can translate, you have translation, English translation, it's like, yeah. Їжте хліб із зерна, що під небом росло, прошитим ракетами. Ось тут риба і мідії, які плавали в морі одному з воєнними кораблями. Ось вино врожаю 2022-го. Виноградці підв'язували під час обстрілів, поки руки нашим невинним зв'язували вороги. Поряд бігають діти, які росли без електрики, виростали в сирих укриттях висоток та шкіл. І не треба цих пафосних фраз, що діти – це квіти, бо кімнатні рослини загинули вечорами зимовими, без тепла, без світла, без догляду. Наші ж діти навчились рости під бетоном, на глибині, навчилися жити в коридорах і ваннах. Як скінчилась вона, ми зібрались на вулицях, розповідали одне одному, як то жити було Україні, яку ракетили й дронили, як то жити було Україні безелектричній, безводній, повертатися в магазин тричі, щоб застати час без тривог, приходити в перукарню двічі, другий раз, щоб достригтися, коли дали електрику, як то жити було лише вірою, що ворогів уб'ємо до одного, а кожного з друзів обіймемо. Ми зібрались та пили терпке вино, часом озиралися та гукали дітей, щоб не відходили надто далеко, особливо в посадку. Дякую.